All right. Little bit of technical difficulties. I do apologize. Yeah, that just did not go as planned to get the ball rolling there. I do apologize. So, got fairly used to things on Facebook and not so much on YouTube. So, some hiccups. So, forgive me, please. Let's see. I got a couple more things to fix here. But we should be live on YouTube. Let me double check here. Make sure we're going. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we're in. Looks like we're going. Okay, cool. Sorry again. That was it set up the wrong stream key, and as a result, I hit go live, and it's like, yeah, you can't do that. So we've got camera A, camera B, got a fun surprise iPhone camera, third option, so that's kind of cool. Set that over there for now. If you're in and you're watching, if you could let me know how it looks, how it sounds, I would sure appreciate it. Chase says, hey, what's up, Chase? You said that from Facebook. Am I live on Facebook too? Maybe I'm live on both. I'm still so new to this software. I'm sorry. Chase, thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you in here. Confession cam. Chase says, sounds great. Sounding great. Thank you, sir. Confession cam. That's right. So I can jump to it really quick and get in your face, show all my wrinkles in 4K. That feels good. That feels real good. Let's see what else. Ooh, Cam C. Yeah, Cam C. Not bad, right? So this software, Rusty, actually allows me to just, like as I open it, it prompts me if I want to use my phone as a webcam. So it's kind of cool. Pretty cool indeed. And I figured out how to sidebar the comments, so I can just pull them up in here. Camera A, best view, add smolder for dramatic effect. Thank you, Samuel. Thanks for jumping in, buddy. I appreciate you. Kevin. So I'm live in both, apparently. Kevin made it. I'm here. Summer says, good, great, fantastic. Summer is awesome. So, Summer, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you and the boys. You had another kid recently. A girl? Probably a boy. You guys make boys. Anyways, you make really, really fine, attractive children. That sounded weird. Confession cam. We got to get it out. I didn't mean attractive. They're handsome little boys. That's what I meant. Okay, I stepped right in that. I'm gonna get canceled on my first live. This is great. Anyways, so we are here to talk about. Let's see. Nice to see you. Oh, Tamara. Tammy is from the hospital. Tammy and Jim. Papa Jim is so Papa Jim. I know we got to get into the details of what happened with this most recent job, but Papa Jim is the embodiment of my dad in so many ways. And there was a lot of negative that came from that job, a lot of negative, and very few things that I cherish. Having the opportunity to meet Tamara and Jim are chief amongst the good. Like, they are way up at the tippy top. And Jim he really does. He reminds me of my pops in a lot of ways. And I don't know how he knew, but my dad called me D. It's not like I have a super long name that would constitute just cutting off 4 letters and just calling me D. But he called me D, like right out of the gate. I didn't solicit it. And so I had this like tender moment. I even messaged my sister. I don't think I've even told Jim this story, but I messaged my sister and I explained to her, I'm like, man, this guy, like, he loves Whoppers. He loves old timey Westerns. He's funny, and he's got a huge heart, and he tells incredible stories. Like, there's so many things that he did that were precisely like my dad. And yeah, needless to say, he kept me in the game for a very long time at that job because it was super tough. So anyways, that's Papa Jim. Chase says, LMAO, love it. Let's see. That's really dope, actually. I thought it was super cool to be able to like pick that up and Get personal. Rusty, I love you. How did that feel? Was that closer? Rusty, I love you. Is that personal enough? It could be my double chin cam too. We could if we need to. We've got double chin cam if we need to. Oh, the weeklies. Oh, and Bob is the man. He used to come to and patronize patronize. He used to be a patron at the Redneck Country Club, and he's just quintessential cool dude. He drives a Corvette, and he's got a sweet beard. And Bob, you're the freaking man, and I miss you like crazy, friend, and I hope you're thriving. I hope you're doing well. So cool to see you pop into this. It's so awesome. And then the weeklies. The weeklies are, Julie, if you don't mind me sharing a bit of your story, but I met them through Texas Children's Hospital. They have a son that has just gone through so much. I believe they're from Canada. My memory's vague. I'm sorry. Kind of dicey, but from Canada, and they used to come to Texas to do all of their treatments. And I got to meet them there and their remarkable son and hear their story. And myself and a couple other officers were part of a team that helped make their son an honorary security officer for the hospital. So that hospital experience was much greater than the one that I was last in. And they're just, once you understand and you get to experience how much they've been through, it's like, dude, and they're still just so kind-hearted and so appreciative and so grateful. It's as though what they've gone through, like their trials and their adversities, have given them such a greater propensity to just be so compassionate and loving and empathetic. Like some of the greatest people I've had the opportunity of knowing, but I take even greater pleasure in calling a friend. What else is on the soundboard? So far, it's just the but I got to add some more. I tried to come in prepared for today, ended up spending too much time making my thumbnail and scripting another YouTube video. Yes, haha, finally a girl. Thank you. So Summer did have a girl who is not attractive, who is adorable. Please don't put me on a list. Let's see. Kevin says, if I send you something, can you play it on screen? Maybe. At the risk of putting the kibosh to the whole stream, we'll say yes, but can we save it for the end? Is that cool? Velvety voice wins again. Chase, it's this water. It's this Arizona water that they just basically shove poop through a mesh screen and then turn it into water. Oh, hits right every time. Let's see. Jessica, I met at Dillard's while I was working security. She is a gem. Hey, caught you live. Hope you and the family are doing well. We are. We're doing well, despite present circumstance, despite not having a job. Run through all three cameras. How was that? How was that for running production simultaneously? How'd I do? Let's see. We got some new comments. I love that it shows the source also. This is so cool. Bob says, clean, so clean. And from this man, from a man that does so many things so well, this is such a huge compliment for me. The guy he's like the proverbial whiz kid at all things production and music. He's ventured into the world of like podcasting and videography and stuff like that. And very soon I'm going to be out of a job because everything that guy does, he does incredibly well. And so please go check him out on Facebook. Link it again, my man. Link your podcast. He also hooks people up with like getting them a space to create content. He's just cool. Julie says share away. Julie, I already did. Sorry, post sharing. Vince and Tony are twin brothers. They were the ones that really gave me my first chance in music in a setting that was a little bit more advanced than what I'd ever done before. They really helped put me out there and expose me to a lot of things in the music industry that I hadn't otherwise had the opportunity to. And they're awesome dudes. And it was tough because we went through like a weird, tough time where I was like a super douche. And I had to eat a lot of those words. And pride is pretty terrible. Tony, I'm sorry if I'm sharing too much, but you and Vince are the real deal, man. And I'm sorry for who I was at that time. Because dude, you and your brother, awesome people. From Alaska. What did I say? Canada? I said Canada. Sorry, eh? Hit him with the badumts. Hit him again. Thank you, my friend. Miss you too. Bob, miss you a ton. Let's see. Kevin says, this is so much easier. It has like a navigation bar. Oh, I guess I could just show you with the C-Cam. Where I finally figured out how to have this populate. So then I can just grab your comments, select add to broadcast or remove from broadcast, and then they just pop up on the screen. Pretty awesome. Back to ACAM. Sorry. We have so much to talk about, and let me get through the pleasantries, say hi to everybody. For the record, Bob from Texas, this is not you. Kevin doesn't know you. This is AJ Bob. I would not allow this in the chat. He's talking about the other Bob, the good Bob. I like this Bob too. He and Kevin are like best friends, so this is just playful banter. But Megan says, miss your face. I miss yours right back. I miss yours right back. And thank you for always being so supportive. We've got Jordan. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Jordan Gwynn is the homie. He and his wife are top notch. I got to get through the pleasantries so we can get into the meat and potatoes here. Derek, you beautiful man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. That's so fun. It's so fun. I'm sorry. Jordan, thank you for always supporting me, man. Means a lot. This is Wiz. Kathy, I worked with at Arizona Counseling and Treatment Services. Everybody needs a whiz in their life. And not, dude, here we go again. Not like a whiz. Like, she's from Wisconsin, so I called her Wiz. Confession cam's going to come in handy. I could tell. What are we, 3 in? And I'm not even 10 minutes into my stream. I called her Wiz. I had a nickname for everybody, but she is, imagine like the best person you've ever met as far as just being kind, but equally funny, but not ever in a malicious way, just incredibly kind-hearted. And then take that and then 10x that personality and that's Kathy. Kathy is second to nobody. I love her freaking guts. Back to the ACAM. Confession cam is done. Oh, okay, so this is Dad. This is Tim Weekly. So they call me Sergeant A. I was a sergeant at the Children's Hospital. I'm the real deal. Tim, I have to assure you, sir, if I am any measure of the man that you always claim that I am, it's because I have such incredible people, incredible men, and fathers and husbands like you that I get to model myself after. And so if that is true at all, it's I promise, it's just me trying to mimic what you do in your life for so many wonderful people. We all good, buddy. That's good to hear, Tony. Wish you nothing but the best. Garrett is TikTok famous. So you guys are, this is TikTok royalty here. So Garrett is the man. Garrett runs a podcast called The Sonder Experience. Garrett has been one of the dudes, I don't know that I've ever been in more lockstep as far as what I've gone through in my life with somebody, despite having such vastly different upbringings. Garrett and I have a joke, like a running gag, where it's like, we can just fill in a time where we were young and chubby and doing young and chubby things, where it's just like, it's indifferent. Like I'll tell a story and he's like, me, same. Yes. Yep. Me too. And I'm like, so we just tell them as though we were there together now. And it's pretty great. It's pretty great. Garrett got me the job that got me up to Litchfield Park, and spoiler, he got me a job interview for tomorrow. So I might be landing on my feet a little quicker than I thought. And we're going to go confession cam on this one. Garrett, if you're still watching, man, I know you've tried to not minimize, but make small what your role is in that, and I won't allow it, dude. Because I know for you, it's just reaching out to your boss, whatever. But dude, it's income, right? It keeps me going, and so as an opportunity for my family, and I can't thank you enough, man. So not gonna cry, not crying on stream again. You guys aren't gonna get me. Nobody offered me a car or whatever like last night. Jeez, Robert, you're the man. You're the man. All right, let's see. Kevin says, Bob Marley sucks. Just wanted to clarify. That's my boy. We got too many Bobs in the chat to be dragging Bobs. Just promise me you'll use Badum SFX during the peak emotional part of your stream. I have no choice. I had like a juicy fart also that I could have put on the board. I can put multiple things on the board. So I'll show you guys. I'll show you. We'll go C-Cam again. So these are fun, right? They like all these little animated things. And so I can swipe and get another page. But right now I only had one for one sound effect, and that's a badumts. So I don't know why it's not focusing. But anyways, A-cam. So I run all of that simultaneously. When I get into the trenches of my heartache, I will be sure to badumps. Garrett says, looks good, man. Thanks, doggy. I appreciate that. Your podcast looks great. We need to get that rolling again. Garrett also deserves a lot of credit for keeping me going through some of my darkest times with what he did on social media and powering through with his podcast as well. So I don't think I tell him that enough. Patrice. So this is Markeitha. You guys, okay, let me finish with what we have. I got to get into the meat potatoes. Patrice is my bestie from Texas. Actually, just like bestie, top 3 besties. This is her fiance. She is a doll. She's an absolute gem. They're such an incredible couple who continues to love me in spite of all of my screw-ups and all the things that I have going on. They just keep showing up for me. And their relationship is so... Dude, it's just... They need a TV show. For real, they need a TV show. Maybe I'll just take my camera to Houston and just walk around and film them because they're so funny and their love is so special and so unique. They're great. And I love them both. So thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it. Alan! Oh my gosh. Alan, what's up, man? So Alan he is the homie, but he and I also worked at T-Mobile together. And Alan, he's just such a good dude. I had the opportunity to go to his house a couple times and meet his parents. I forget what part of the globe they're from, but their hospitality and their love, I wish I could remember. Alan, I'm sorry. Maybe you can help me in the comments. They're just so, like, it's a whole nother level of caring, and like they greeted me with such warmth, and I was new, like a stranger to their house, and like they don't know strangers. They don't know strangers. Everybody's a friend, and they're just great. Look at this pop of blue right here. This comes from that light over there. Isn't that cool? I thought that was pretty cool. Separate me from the background a little bit. Thanks for jumping on, Alan. I appreciate it, buddy. Yes, you are fabulous, and I spoiled his children. Kathy absolutely spoiled my children. She made one of the coolest timeout bottles I've ever seen in my whole life that my daughters just ended up playing with because I didn't have it in my heart to send them to timeout because I'm soft. No way. Okay, this is Darlene. Darlene is the homie, trademarked. Her and I worked at Abrazo together, and when I tell you, like, we went through some wild, wild stuff at that hospital. Crazy, wild stuff. And this girl and her mom, I call her Mama Frances. Frances, I think, is her name. I just called her Mama because she's such a sweetheart. This girl held it down. Another one of the few reasons I was able to stay in the game at that job as long as I did. Darlene, what's up? I miss you. Thank you for jumping in. I promise we got to get to some stuff. Nick Collins, really quick. Always great to see you pop up in my feed. Love you, homie. Love you too, dog. Nick is the man. In so many ways, Nick inspires me that he probably doesn't even realize. He's just such a talented musician. He lost a bunch of weight, and he's just... Nick is the kind of dude you just need in your life if you want to continue to strive to be successful. And I'm grateful for you, Nick. Hope you're still here. Matt Martell, can't stay long tonight, but great to see you. Long time no see. Keep going on. You will get through this. I'll come back and watch the whole video later. Take care. Matt, thanks for jumping on. Thank you for spending some time with us. If you're still here, good to see your face, my man. Take care. Hope to talk to you soon. Garrett says, we are Garrick. This is the running gag. So again, our stories would just kind of, like, it was so symbiotic. Like we just melded together, like mentally and physically, when we sat shoulder to shoulder, because we're both portly dudes. We just kind of, and we just like Jabba the Hutt into each other. And so we are Garrick, is Derek and Garrett. I don't know why he got the first part, which we're going to have to revisit that. Darrett. Yeah, that one's better. Darrett. Rob Hopkins. This guy's just been consistent. Absolutely consistent. Always there showing me love. Always. And he reaches out through DMs when I'm going through stuff all the time. Rob, homie, appreciate you. Thanks for jumping into this. I promise we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. Kick that interviews. Oh, I can't bring swear words into the chat. But you got this. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. We got one vote, Juicy Fart. Everybody upvote hers. I can ban her right now. But, dude, it's so funny. Maybe I'll add it back. But you know, like the one that's like the meme fart where it's like absolute post Taco Bell just melting the porcelain, just like wet ripper. What is this live stream fall into? Anyways, that's when it was. But my daughter Olive would come in here, and I'd be like working, and she'd be like, and she'd just like nail on it, dude. And so I'm like, okay, got it, babe, thanks. So I made the pause button. I don't know if you guys are able to see it. It's a little unicorn. I don't know if it'll focus. Yeah, it might be a little too bright, but this one right here is a little unicorn. Yeah, not gonna focus. And that's to help distract her. And but I also changed the fart sound, so I'm sorry. Robert Hopkins, much love to you, man. Thank you, Robert. Thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. Bianca, what's up? How are you? It's been it has been a while, but keep doing great. I will. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for supporting me. It means a lot. Bosnia. Alan is from Bosnia. Let's bring that on here. And it's so cool. It makes a little distinction of like YouTube and Facebook. Whoa, I can just scroll and make it big. There's Alan right there. Alan and his girlfriend, super dope. Super duper dope. My dude, you inspire me, or we are out here doing it, bro. I'm telling you, Nick, I'm just trying to keep up with you, dog. Just trying to keep up with you. John is laughing and thinking you should have the sound effect. Do I need to switch it to the fart right now? Do I need? Oh my goodness gracious! I'll hit them. But then I don't have it. I came ill prepared. John can't stop giggling when he hears you say it. John, I'm sorry. I'm not in my professional capacity. I don't have my sergeant chevrons anymore. John, farts are funny, right? Right? Juicy fart. Was it like, and it's, dude, it was such a good one. It's such a good one. Let's see. Bianca sends hearts. Kathy says, Derek, looking at your chat feed, I can see that you are loved by so many. You've touched all of our hearts one way. I think everyone would agree. Manifest that interview tomorrow. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. And that's what compelled me to do this one today, was because, quite frankly, the love that I received yesterday, like I had no anticipation of going live and having somebody offer me a truck, like, which is going to make that job interview and job more generally just possible. I can't really work days with Amelia having to pick up the girls and everything else. So I decided I had to get on here, and I want to break this down, but I don't want to. Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to throw shade. I don't want to drag anybody, and I don't want it to feel as though I'm coming for Erica, Jackie, or retail therapy at all. I want to start by prefacing just how much I was willing to do for that job, because I think that's an important component to how things kind of shook out. I'll add to that, I don't really know. They didn't tell me. They don't have to tell me, frankly. But I don't. That's what's most challenging for me, is like I don't know, and so I'm just left. And that's, again, the reason it's hardest is when I'm left with that kind of open-ended termination. My mind will fill in the blanks gladly and readily. And so that part is kind of rough. That part stinks a little bit, because I would love to just know, I guess, for the closure that might come from that. Let's see. You deserve the world, man. You put a lot of positivity into this world, and it'll come back to you tenfold, brother. Rob, thank you so much, man. Thank you. I'm going to try and keep up with the comments as we go, but let me dig into this story a little bit. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Take a drink of water. Oh, everything still look good, sound good? I should have added the fart, John. Should have added the fart. And they're from Alaska, not Canada, but I knew that. I was testing you guys. Good job. You know where you live. Everybody wins. 100. They just can't freaking afford you, my man. $250K a year is a lot of money. Alan, boy, do I wish that's what they were paying me. But it wasn't. So either way, their willingness. So ultimately what ended up happening is, please don't, like, I was making good money at the hospital, but it was the consequence of working an exorbitant amount of overtime. And part of it was overtime that I wanted. The rest was out of necessity because we were so grossly understaffed all the time. All the time. So just to give you guys an idea, I think the position is wrecked for 14 and a half weighted employees plus a supervisor. So the supervisor is not technically supposed to be in the count. So 14 and a half, one, so 15, but they would still respond to calls, but mostly handle the admin stuff. We had six people, 24/7, round the clock, in a hospital setting, very dynamic, right? It's not like warehouse security. It's not, you just sit and the hardest part of the job is not falling asleep. No, it's in Central Phoenix where there's an exorbitant amount of violence. There is the third largest homeless population, and consequence of that is a lot of those that are having mental health issues, those that are addicted, those that are expressly challenging to deal with, expressly challenging. And there's no training for it. Like, de-escalation tactics work fairly well. Delivery has a lot to do with that, and experience kind of shores that up even farther. But when you can't get through to a person, whew. So anyways, I say all of that to say there isn't anything I wouldn't have done to pivot out of that job. So initially when I started with retail therapy, it was just in the capacity of helping them get content kind of periodically, kind of like, hey, jump in and do this event if you can. Although more oftentimes than not, I ended up working like 7 days a week. That isn't really conducive to that. So after they saw some of my work and I was able to get some things done for them, they felt confident and like, hey, we got to make this full time. So I was like, sick. But they'd already expressed not being able to pay me the amount that the hospital was paying me. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, we'll just keep it in. But it was difficult to maintain because not only were we grossly understaffed, there wasn't really anybody on the horizon, even though I think they hired a few new people, but then transferred somebody out and then 2 people quit. And so it's like, they're basically back at square one. So even with those new people coming in, we would have ultimately, if I would have stayed, it would have been the same situation. So ton of overtime, often 12-hour days. Amy, oh my gosh, got to shout out Amy really fast. I was going good. Hold a pin in what I was saying. Amy was my boss at the Redneck Country Club. She's awesome, dude. Amy, the best boss, bar none, the best boss I've ever had. For reals. Awesome. Had to show her some love really fast. Sorry. Okay, back in it. So they ultimately we sat down. We had a meeting. I had a formal interview when I started the role, even part-time, and we sat down and we met, and they're like, hey, we'd really love to bring you on full-time, but there's no way we can pay you what the hospital pays you at the expense of justifying just you in the position of creative director. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, how do we make this work then? Well, they were closing their Anthem location and were about to open a location in Scottsdale Fashion Square, which for those of you that don't know is like in the top 10 for most shopped malls in America. And it's gorgeous, dude. It is the most bougie mall, with the exception of like the Galleria in Houston, that I've ever been to. Like marble flooring and like just bougie. Like everything is so super swanky, super nice mall. But anyways, I digress soundly. They were excited about that transition because their Anthem location wasn't bringing a lot of traffic. Scottsdale Fashion Square promised to bring all kinds of traffic. So it's like, I've done retail before. I've got a ton of customer service experience. Let's jump into that, right? So ultimately, because that was going to be, and there was also the promissory note of like, okay, we'll bring you on, have you work retail. Basically it was like this many hours retail, this many hours creative, this many hours post-production. And I don't want to get into the specifics, but if you guys want to, I can, but I don't know how important they are. Anyways, so we go through all that and I'm like, cool, yeah, I can sign on. They're like, we'll pay you a salary. Sick. Still a pretty significant pay cut, but the promissory note that made it a little more enticing for me, you'll get access to all 200 of our partners that will also need content creation in some capacity. And even though it's like, I can't get totally geeked on the idea that all 200 people want to use me, but it's just a numbers game after that, right? 3%, 5%, if I can lock in just being who I am, creating good, viable content for people, shouldn't be bad. Shouldn't be bad at all. I need a drink, sorry. But still, that would add to more work. But again, I'm so much more willing to commit my extra time to something that I'm passionate about as opposed to the exchange of like dollar amount for overtime. Because one, there's only so many hours in a day. Two, when it's a job that you really don't like and that doesn't do a lot for retention or to try and keep you, it's like the perfect equation for burnout, and it's burnout really quick. So I jump in. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Let's take the salary, let's run it. And so I jump in and I go to a day's training at Anthem. But like I said, they were already in the process of moving that store to Scottsdale. So the POS system was gone, the point of sale system, the computer, and a lot of that stuff. The inventory stuff was gone. So it's like I showed up for a couple hours and it is what it is. Didn't get a lot from that. And it was even, admittedly, they're like, yeah, there's not a lot we can do for you there. Why don't you just go ahead and go home? So I'm like, okay. The next day I helped facilitate the move of a lot of the fixtures, both to Glendale, as well as the storage unit. So again, I'm happy to help. Like, you have to understand, I would much rather move fixtures in the 112-degree heat than, having to move the remains of people who've passed at the hospital. Like, it's not even a compromise. It's like, sign me up. Sign me up. So I do that willingly. I'm happy to do that. That's all well and good. And then I don't get another day's training, and then I'm scheduled to work. So I come in a little bit early and I work. Let me interject here. I want to remain objective. I have my own personal biases. They abound. I have plenty of them. I don't want to default to that. So if you guys feel as though I'm getting a little heavy-handed with how I'm presenting information about them specifically, let me scale it back. Like, remind me in the chat, like, hey. I don't want to do that. It really isn't my goal, and I don't benefit from it, and neither do they. So anyways, that said, go in early. And that next, I had a couple days off, and then I came back, and they're like, hey, we can't have you coming in early anymore. Like, we're trying to figure out labor with the new location. You can't come in early. You can't clock out late. Like, we need you precise. Okay. Even though it sounded like, what they were anticipating at Scottsdale, we were going to be pretty understaffed as far as volume. And so, in fact, there were only 3 of us that were staffed for the respective mall hours that we worked. And only on occasion were there 2 of us. So I jump into that. I get my little bit of training there early. And this isn't like retail in the sense, when a shelf gets empty, you go to the back, you get stuff, and you stock that shelf, right? Every fixture represents a different artist or creator. It's kind of like brick and mortar Etsy. It's kind of the best way. That was part of my pitch when people would come in, actually. That's how I was describing it to folks. So each fixture of the 80 are all staged a little differently, right? So it's not just like stock front to back, face everything, make sure the dates are good, whatever. No, it's like, it's got to look pretty, right? It's got to be presentable, and it's got to be, furthermore, what that partner in particular wants for their fixture. So it's a little bit more nuanced, not rocket science by any measure, but a little bit more nuanced than just like, hey, fill the shelves, buddy. Not like that at all, in fact. So as I'm learning the fixtures, I'm learning the partners, and of course, there's obviously cleaning and stuff that needs to happen also. My boss, who will remain nameless, writes in our little pass-down book, hey, these are my absolutes. I need these things to be done. And it was like, take out the trash, sweep and mop, stock, and replenish, right? Even though at Anthem, and this is true, even though at Anthem, she told me we don't do the restock, replenish, the partners do. Bear in mind, that was for the Anthem location. We are vastly busier at the Scottsdale location, right? So that changes the dynamic considerably. So I'm like, okay, well, you told me that from before, but we'll do that here now. At this point, maybe I know 10 vendors or partners, that was their nomenclature, partners. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll just figure it out as I go. And if you give me a specific on some, and so I went around and I was actually taking pictures of all the fixtures. So I'm like, I had an idea of what it looked like. the way the partners had set it up when they initially came in when the store opened. Cool. That's totally fine. Still kind of dicey, right? I'm in my first week of doing that. Still a little dicey, so not confident, but doing my best, filling in where I can. Furthermore, of the 80 partners we had, there was probably at the time maybe like 20 of their back people that had back stock. So it's not like you can replenish. And if it's limited back stock, it's like, you know, if they had a bag this big of something and then all they had in the back stock were the tiny bags, they set it up like that. Do you want me to fill with the small bags where the big bags go? Because I'm happy to, but that wasn't a given expectation. This is where it gets incredibly frustrating for me. So I'm going to try and pull as much of Derek out of this sentiment as I can. Gonna be hard. She had an expectation for cleaning. So it was like sweep and mop, take out the trash. And the trash is a process. Again, such a bougie mall, they don't want you to see the seedy underbelly, right? It's like, no, you go out to a big hallway and then literally to break down the boxes, take the trash, and then you go out, boxes go to one side, trash goes to the other. It's like a 25-minute process. I timed it once. And so I was like, that's not going to be possible at close. We only get 15 minutes from 9 to 9:15 and you can't clock out late. That's coming from the owners. But my manager's like, you're closing, so post-closing. So once you shut the doors, you have to sweep and mop all 1,000, 1,200 square feet, whatever it was, take out the trash. And even though take out the trash could mean just throwing it in the gondola, we had a ton of boxes from everybody setting up. Like the fixtures all came in boxes. So there's styrofoam and plastic. The whole stock room it looked like a cardboard bomb went off. There was so much stuff back there. Like, and here's where I get especially frustrated is the day I came in early, I'm like, hey, I was going to use that time to take the trash. I put this in the chat. I was going to use that time to take the trash, but I wasn't able to because I thought training would be a little more advantageous. So I kind of know what's going on. Again, it's a POS system, not rocket science. However, nuanced enough that some of the specifics could take a little bit of time explaining, especially since we also print out the barcodes for each partner as they come in. So it's like, oh, I need this one, and this one. So you have to go into a separate computer. Anyways, I'll skip the details, but just there was enough that it's like, yeah, some training would have been cool, right? Would have been cool. I came in early for that with that expectation because otherwise I was just scheduled to go in and then they put like a 30-minute layover when the next person was leaving. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of a lot, right? It's kind of a lot, especially since the variable is the foot traffic. Like those are constants. You want that done every night. You said those are your absolutes. Dope. I can do that. No problem. So, however, I can't do that. And this is a necessary caveat. Should have added this. Sorry. We didn't have a mop and we didn't have cleaning solution. Like they didn't provide one. So she left it in there and I'm like, okay, well, she must mean, plus, dude, I wish I could zoom in right now, lean in. Plus, oh, I can. Plus, dude, we had a cleaning lady that they were paying to clean separately. So I made an argument after all of this in the chat. It's like, maybe we just get a Swiffer wet jet, spot mop, kind of clean things up as we go. So you're not having to sweep and mop the entirety of the front, the back, and the bathroom because we just don't have time with that as we're trying to really key in on what labor is going to look like. I thought that was pretty smart. And furthermore, it was just feedback. And anybody that knows me or has worked with me, the level of decorum that I can exhibit when it comes to, I will not be like, this is dumb. This is ridiculous. Unless I get pushed there, my ability to be a wordsmith with stuff like that, I genuinely pride myself on. So we don't have a mop. We don't have cleaning solution. Despite how new of a business you are, if you're in a transitional phase to try and be taking yourself more seriously, I don't think it's expedient that you have people bring stuff from home to accomplish a task list that I will prove to you that she wasn't even willing to do herself. So I brought my mop in, right? And I mopped the back area, which had gotten particularly bad because that was the most trafficked area as people kind of ebbed and flowed between the front and back to dismantle the boxes and so on. Plus, that's where everybody eats. So food mess, spills, it happens, right? Not knocking anybody there. So I bring my own mop and my own solution. And it's like, it was $7, right? Fabuloso. Fabuloso. Not a sponsored video. Not a sponsored video. So I bring my own Fabuloso and I sweep that area and I mop within the time constraints that I have at the end of the shift to try and restock, replenish, help any customers. Because obviously, if you've worked in retail, you know if somebody comes in at 8:59, you got to let them shop through and then close the till afterwards, because it could be cash. If you count your drawer, your drop's going to be off. Anyways, so 9 o'clock, you get to go close the door down. Then it was sweep and mop the entire location, take the trash out, potentially down if the gondola's full, which nobody else did. Nobody else did. Now, this is where I interject a little bit of opinion. Maybe it's because they were all women that they thought it was just a man's responsibility to take the trash, but that ain't it. It does make sense to do it at an end of shift or like an end of day, but if there's an exorbitant amount of trash and you have 2 people during the day, it might be a good idea to take the trash then. Maybe I'm wrong. That's my opinion. You can tell me I'm wrong. Fabuloso hits, bro. Fabuloso hits. You're not wrong, Rob. The purple one, bro. Anyways, so I bring my mop and I take care of that because I need you guys to understand, and this is where I'm going to lean in, put a little bass in my voice. There isn't anything I wasn't willing to do to keep that job, even if it meant going above and beyond in the retail position or portion of that job till I could get into the part that I was passionate about. And if you consider the job I came from previously, I was willing to do whatever it took. So even as I express these things now, it's mostly out of frustration and not like, wow, he just didn't really care or didn't have the patience to help. No, I did. I went so far as to bring my own materials to do what she asked me to do. However, mopping the entire store post closing the doors is an insufficient amount of time. I can argue plenty that it's like I didn't even have a mop to begin with. It'd be like me telling you to author a book right now. You get no typewriter, pen, or paper. I need it tomorrow. That's nutty. Shame on you. So it gets worse. So I mop that area. The next day in the chat where the where the owners and her boss is, she says, I need this, this, and this, and then makes the distinction to say nights, as though there are 20 of us that work at this location, and nights would distinguish all of us. Nights is me, and on the days I don't work, the manager closes. So she says in this message that my bosses see that I felt, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll lay it out the way it was laid out to me. Nights, you need to get this done. Sweeping and mopping is a must. Taking out the trash, like these boxes that have been left over, is a must. They fine people at the mall if you leave your trash. Thus far, it had been there over a week, and she said she was going to take care of it. Because the only other time I had to come in early, I was told don't come in early, and then I was training selfishly, right? Had to figure out how to do the job. I know. Okay, getting a little crass. Let me scale that back. Sorry. So she said, if it's not done, I'm going to write you up. That's not how leadership works. You don't guilt people. If you don't know this, let me get real in your face. You don't guilt people to perform. You don't shame people. You don't threaten punitive measures. Is there a time for that? Most assuredly. But you should establish first a corrective action plan to where you can help this person. And bear in mind, this is all while all of us are new to this location, trying to sort out and figure out everything that's going on with the volume of this store and the particular needs of the partners as it pertains to this brand new location. They haven't even done their grand opening yet. They just did a soft open. So things are very new, very new. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, don't take it personally, even though it said nights, which is me, because there's only a day person. Otherwise, there's 3 of us. Don't take it personally. It's fine. Next day, I sat and thought with it, and then this is where I'm certainly guilty. I sat and thought about it. I'm like, bro, she put that in the group chat with the owners. That's kind of whack. Furthermore, she never addressed, outside of putting it in the book, she never had a conversation with me first, moved right to giving a write-up. Now, a write-up, bear in mind, since the majority of my work for the foreseeable future was going to be in the retail capacity, that meant that my perceived lack could cost me my dream job. And as I'd mentioned before, as I prefaced all of this, there isn't anything I wouldn't do to keep this job, right? Nothing. So she writes that. The next day I have a conversation with the mutual friend that helped me get the job, and I'm spirited. Heated isn't the word, because no different than as I'm speaking to you now, like if I feel there's a wrong or an injustice, I'm going to speak on it. I've not in the past, and it only makes situations worsen. And so here's where I can learn from this. One, time and place. I should not have presented that information to this person in another store while it was open. Clear shame on me. 100% ownership of that. Shouldn't have done that. I'll eat that. Lesson learned. Got to do better in the future. Nobody else addressed her threatening punitive measures or write-ups. So it's like it got put in the chat. I responded in kind, like, hey, and even after I'm like, hey, I don't know that is necessarily the best way to navigate this, as we're in a new situation for everybody. Some people are still learning the partners, and they had like 30 new partners on top of that. So everybody was learning the new partners. So it was a lot for everybody. Sorry. So I thought it might be prudent to give an extended measure of patience and understanding, especially since we didn't have the tools to do the job you were threatening to write me up for in the first place. So I go in the next day. I talk to Colleen, and I actually I said her name, I'm sorry. Told mutual friend, I stepped in it right there too. Told mutual friend, hey, I don't know if I really feel comfortable working with this person, because that's not how I get down. That's not how I treat people. That's certainly not how I lead people. And so as a consequence, as a direct result, I don't like to be led like that. Like, you don't idly threaten me, especially if you're not going to give me the tools, the training, and the resources to do the job. So the next day, this one's on me as well. Full ownership. I'm going to get personal again. Take full responsibility, okay? I went in, and in a bit of frustration, now, could it have been passive-aggressive? 100%. But was the expectation that she offered, otherwise it was punitive measures, served also? 100%. I went and brought more Fabuloso, because the last time I just brought it in a little cup. I actually bought a whole thing of Fabuloso. Went in, mopped the floor, took out all of the boxes that she promised she was going to have taken care of, but was still willing to write me up for it not being done. All of the boxes took me like 30 minutes to do that. Plus, I was going to be there by myself again at close. So I knew if I didn't take action to get this stuff done now, wasn't going to get done, she's going to write me up, right? That's a fair assumption based on the assertion that she made in the group chat with my bosses. There was going to be punitive performative measures taken towards me as a direct result of not doing those things. So I go in and I do them. I don't say anything to her, and I cannot be clearer enough. We didn't speak. She was equally as passive-aggressive to me as I was to her. Does that justify my actions in doing so? No. Do I feel justified in going in and fighting for the job that I was otherwise going to be written up for. And for them, it's like write up, verbal termination. So I'm like, I'm 1 foot in and I'm not even a week into this job. Like, okay. But furthermore, I'm starting to see what kind of person is going to be over me. So it's like, I better just do all that I can. This is how, my mind kind of worked this out. Hindsight is 2020, but like, let's get everything done that I can then to try and remedy this. So I go in, I mop, I'm sweeping. There's not a lot of patron flow at this time. So I'm sweeping, trying to mop in sections so, that area can dry, and then I can take the next section so I can still handle my performing duties or my closing duties at the end of the night. So I do that. She's scheduled till 6, Amy is. So I'm like, I got a buffer from 4:45 to 6 to try and get this stuff done. And, this is important. This is important. I don't work there Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. I brought my mop in and mopped the back Friday. My mop was there that whole time. No mopping got done. None. Why does that matter? If this is one of your absolutes and something that you're willing to write other people up for, and you're in a leadership capacity, don't ask or expect what you yourself are not willing to do. And further, don't go to such extreme lengths to threaten to write somebody up or take punitive, not corrective measures in finding the balance in things. I brought the mop in the first place. I brought the Fabuloso. You didn't help do the boxes like you said you would, and then put it back on nights, me. And the only other person that works nights in my absence is her. So again, that's important to know. But anyways, so I go and I do all of that stuff, get everything done, stock a couple things. She leaves without saying goodbye, and she leaves at like 5 instead of her scheduled 6 p.m. I could tell like the vibe was off. Vibe was off. And so I'm like, probably going to have to talk about this one. But I had already done my talking to somebody and said that I don't feel comfortable working with her. Well, it gets back to me after that day. So the next day I'm scheduled for 4:30, but I'd gone in early that other day. So they're like, go ahead and come in at 5. I get a call at 3. It's like, hey, you know what? Since you worked Tuesday, which was otherwise your day off, why don't you take today? Make sure we have a conversation before you come back in. You work at 9 tomorrow. We'll come in at noon. Everybody will talk. We'll figure out the details. Cool. I'm cool with that. Jokingly, I say, I'm not going to get fired, am I? And the person I was speaking to chuckled, and they're like, Derek, come on. We're not going to do that. Like, we told you there's no such thing as a big deal here. We just want to talk. And I'm like, cool, because I'd like to talk also. Definitely got some things on my mind. So an hour elapses. So I'm like, cool, I'll take the night off. I text my wife. An hour elapses. I get a phone call from a number in California that I didn't recognize. They leave a voicemail, and it's like, hi, my name's Marla from HR Resources, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, maybe a chance to tell my side of the story. That's cool. Answer the phone. Is this Derek? It is. She gets to And in my mind, I'm like, you've got to be joking. Like, I knew exactly how the rest of that was going to spill out of her mouth. Unfortunately, the company has decided to go in a different direction. And I said, hang on. Can you give me some specifics? And she said, there wasn't any provided to me. They're going to move in a different direction. Can I give my perspective? Can I give my input, my feedback, how things shook out from my end? I'm new to this. Like, I was literally hired last week. They didn't have HR prior to that. That's how new this company is. Nothing was given to me, so I'm just like, the whole world, like the biggest rug pull of all time, right? And I'm just like, she's like, where can you drop off your stuff, and is your bank account information correct for your last paycheck? And I'm just like I can hear, like when they cut away from like a bomb blast in like a big war movie, and it's just kind of like that. That's what I'm hearing, and I'm just like, I was like, yeah, lady, why wouldn't my banking information be correct? Like, I was a little snippy then. She's like, right, just wanted to confirm. Again, I'm new to this. I was like, listen, I'm sorry. It should be right. Like, if it's the one I put in there from the only half a week or half a pay period paycheck I've received so far, we should be good. Should be good to go. And she's like, okay, cool. I go and drop off my stuff. And then I get this, like, maybe I won't talk about this. But anyways, I got fired. So I call the person back who kind of my direct point of contact. And I'm like, what happened? Like, you just told me I wasn't going to get fired and told me everything was fine. Well, Derek, your manager came in and she mentioned that she felt threatened by you going in and doing the job, that she threatened me with a write-up for not doing. So then I step away from it. It's like, is this because I'm a dude? Like, is it because I'm a big dude? Because if so, like, and so I went through all the wrongful termination. I went through all of this. No, I didn't. So let me bring this on the screen. They still have my mop and Fabuloso, as well as like my standing, like ergonomic standing mat. Because anybody that stood at a register for a long time, like the fatigue, and especially being a big dude, the fatigue in my feet, ankles, and knees sucks. So they have my fatigue mat. I bought my own uniforms that they were going to print the name, like retail therapy on. They have those. They have my mat. And I asked if I could go get my stuff. And they're like, well, just take your stuff to Glendale for now. And then thankfully the person who's a mutual friend is going to bring my stuff to Glendale and I can pick it up on Friday. But no, I don't even have the freaking Fabuloso to show for it. And it's the purple one, dude. Come on. So I get scrubbed because she feels threatened. But my side of the story hasn't been heard, hasn't been spoken about. My perspective and my character are now completely drugged through the mud. I cannot, let me get personal here again. I cannot stress this enough. I didn't speak a word. She approached me and she's like, that's the cleaning lady's mop. And I said, Amy? Oh, I just said her name. I said, that is my mop from home that I brought last Wednesday to sweep and mop the back area. Those were the only words that got exchanged between the two of us. Only words. She left without saying anything, and I got reassured that everything was fine. I was even in the meeting that morning, and they're like, hey, Derek, do you want to talk about some of the stuff that you're planning? And I gave a little presentation on some of the stuff that we were working on, shared some excitement. It went out in the email with all of the notes from the meeting. Everything's good. Take a day off. Day off would be cool. I was admittedly a little frustrated, starting to get a little upset, and being reassured that I wasn't being fired, to being fired. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because I was a dude, like I'm a big dude. I don't know. I don't know. And nobody can tell me. Like we never got a chance to meet. Like I would have rather had the chance to meet, address my side of things, and they're like, well, the vibe still isn't right. We can tell you're upset, and because of that reason, even though it's a bogus reason, right? Cool. Bygones be bygones. Keep it pushing. And outside of that, everything that I'd done by way of production or creative, they seemed really stoked about. Like, really stoked about. And so I don't know, man. I'll probably get a cease and desist for this, but I didn't sign any NDAs. And I don't know. It just kind of... Did the owners get to hear my side? Karen, that's a brilliant question, and it is a very simple answer. Absolutely not. They haven't even motioned as though they care to hear what my side might be. Let's see what Alan says. If you can tell you one thing, the problem was never you. I like to think so. And I will put full onus on, like, I should not have been speaking to the person I was in a retail location where at given points there were customers in the store. That full ownership. That to me, that would be a perfectly justifiable reason if you did want a motion to write me up, to write me up. 1,000%, I agree. Especially if it was done in a corrective manner. Hey, buddy, we can't have you doing that. No, that egg on my face. I get it. I got to own that one. But showing up and doing the job that was outlined, even though I wasn't given the tools or training to do it, going to greater lengths to bring my own stuff and supplies to make sure it gets done. That is insane. And I'm trying my best to not put the implicit bias of being the person who was fired. Like, I genuinely am left with this wide, like, open-ended, like, okay, I can admit that I could have handled the situation better. I could have talked to Amy and been like, hey, I want to get this stuff done. What time are you going to be here till? But am I not equally justified in being frustrated the way she claimed that she was for stuff not getting done? Like, I was the one that was actually threatened with punitive measures as far as a write-up, and the language and the manner in which she said it was like, as a result of you not doing it, this is what's going to happen. That's performative and that's punitive. It's not corrective, right? If it's a write-up, a verbal, and then you're gone, but no course of action mapped out. No, hey, let's meet together as a team. Let's regroup and let's see what everybody feels from the first week of sales. Get a shakedown from everybody. I feel threatened. Crocodile tears, you're gone, buddy. Oh, Ryan Manzo, what's up, man? I get what you're saying right now, buddy. People feel justified and entitled and think they can get whatever they want without consequences. True colors in time. Love you, buddy. Love you too, man. As you guys can see in the picture there, that's my buddy Ryan, and that is his son, Chase. If you follow me on Facebook, that's the one that they tragically lost to cancer. Hate to bring the mood down, but man, that's a really good picture, Ryan. Sorry. I'm not going to read it, but I could certainly put it on screen and I can make it huge. Hey, sorry. Okay. God danged Amy's. Ain't that the truth? I shouldn't have said her name. I'm sorry. Shame on me for that too. Rushy's cool. Oh, oof. I don't know that I know you. If you have proof of all this, talk to the Better Business Bureau. See what they can do. Kevin says trash. That's a little talk, not a termination reason, and they are out of their minds. And if there is more, that's what I find most challenging. If there was more to the story, please let me know. But like now I'm just left to think like, okay, they weren't happy with my performance. They weren't like, but everything, and I have all of this receipts you can imagine that were like, no, this is so great. This is exactly the vision we had for our social media. Wow, seems like from a business perspective, you'd want to know before allowing talent to walk. I concur. Sounds like she was scared that you would look bad because someone was doing for her job better than she was. Sorry you had to deal with that crap. Me too. Alan says laugh. Not sure to what, but it's definitely not right, and I wish we could help out away from Canada. Oh, from Canada. Nice. You scoundrel, you are too good for this junk and have way more to offer. They're from Alaska. Oh, man. Management is a two-way street, and to listen to the ones you entrust with their business. Amen. The fact that you had to bring in a mop and Fabuloso to do the tasks they said were mandatory shows it was them and not you. Again, I would certainly agree. You made her look bad. Let's see. Darlene says, they don't have to tell you, but it's tacky AF not to. Seriously. No, they don't. And that's the right to work state that is Arizona, which kind of stinks. Crystal, what's up? This is my wife's best friend from forever. Sounds like ultimately you were done a favor in a weird way. There's no telling how much worse it could have gotten. So let me shift gears, because that's such a perfect way to segue. I spoke out of frustration right now because I'm frustrated, right? I am grateful. So I've taken it upon myself to not take any 0 days since I got fired. Saturday, we went and did stuff as a family. Well, now what's a 0 day? Let me better define what a 0 day is. That's where you just sit and wallow in the pity of what just happened, right? And you ultimately become the byproduct of sitting and feeling sorry for yourself. I would have overindulged with food because that's who I am. Food is my safety net. Probably would have gained 40 sad pounds and felt like, a total POS. That's why I got to getting creative. That's why I went live yesterday. You guys continue to show up the way that you always have. And so it's like, I went live again today and I'm like, you know what? I thought better of let's not talk about it. But for me, this is cathartic because I can tell you with confidence now, this is behind me. Derek from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have held on to this. I would have probably stayed unemployed for a year, and I probably would have allowed myself to just be the victim of what happened. Here's the good, okay? Even in the short time that I got to know them, I got to see the inner workings of business. I got to see their interactions with their partners, which is phenomenal. Let me allow myself to give credit where credit is due. They take care of their partners in a huge way. And the whole premise and how little they charge and the way they help cultivate more business. And it's not just the superficial of we put your items in our stores. They want to they're offering SEO classes, social media classes. They really want to embrace and help small business owners, specifically women. They do have a couple men, but that's what I was so excited about, was being able to take my passion and what I do well to better tell their story. Because at the end of the day, how many freaking candle makers can you have, right? We get it, Etsy, calm down, okay? People are buying you. That's what gassed me up about telling their story. It's and that's not to take a dig at their products, but it's everybody through COVID got the side hustle of making soaps and candles and jewelry and da-da-da. And it's great, dude. Get your bag. Get your bag, for real. But I need all of them, if anybody from there is watching, they're buying you, right? Your product can be great and stand alone and speak for itself. They're buying you. The game of social media changed things vastly. Tell your story. And some of these women tell such compelling and remarkable stories of hardship and adversity and perseverance. Dude, your candles are dope, right? That's cool. So are 5 million other ladies' candles. Let's talk about you. That's where you differentiate yourself. Anyways, that's what got me juiced up to do that. And what sucks is they said they were stoked on the work that I was doing there. And then because what a mess, right? But I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the interactions I had. I am forever grateful for the people that I was able to meet, the connections I was able to make, and for the spark that it was. Because let me be very honest, very, very honest, this camera honest. I would have continued to stay at that hospital and just eat crap day in and day out because my bills were paid and I didn't have the gumption in myself to further pursue my passion in being a creative. You've all seen it, right? You've seen sparks of music and the YouTube and it's it's the ebb and flow that has been Derek for the last decade, right? And the weight loss and then so many other things that I've tried to focus on. I wouldn't have done it. Where I was at mentally, especially after losing my dad and a bunch of other stuff that's gone on, seeing their drive Seeing their determination sparked something in me. So although I don't have a concrete reason as to why I was removed, and I hate that, dude. I freaking hate that. Maybe I don't need one. Maybe what I need is to focus on what I was given, the ability and opportunity to get more familiar with my gear and, run and gun formatting as far as photography and video, making connections. That's a part of me I haven't felt in such a long time. Like, I am a social butterfly. For those of you that know me, you know that that's true. And so I had allowed myself to sink so low and so deep and into a place where it's like, for those of you that I messaged in my enthusiasm for this job, it's like, dude, I feel like Derek again. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And so if it comes at the expense of like, it's almost like I needed the check. Like, okay, do you? Or are you on a superficial high? So when things get hard again, you're right back down. And that's why I can't do that, dude. I can't do that. I can't have a 0 day. I can't get inside of my head, because inside of my head is still a bunch of repressed, unrequited anger and emotion that I still haven't processed from losing my dad. I know, Derek, it's been 2 years. You got to get over it. You got to get over it. That's such sound advice. Thank you so much. I'm so glad it's so easy for some people. It wasn't for me, okay? And so this would have been fuel enough, like I'd mentioned, just push me right back in. But I can't, dude. I can't. I can't take what they told me and their enthusiasm and their excitement for what I was able to create for their company and deny myself that because I get in my head because of the happenstance of being removed from this position for reasons that I'll just call it what they are BS from my perspective. I can, however, try and stay in the saddle and keep going and fight for the things that I know that I can do well and try and take the momentum that I gained from that. Because the one thing I cannot take from retail therapy is that look at their growth. Their growth speaks volumes to why they are where they are. 4 retail locations, markets in 3 different locations, all over the local news. Like they do a lot of things very well. I think I have justified reason to put into question some of their choices for leadership. And so I'll leave it at that. But let me make it abundantly clear. I am grateful for what Erica and Jackie provided in me in the opportunity to see something more for myself than just a dead-end security job where my efforts were just grossly exploited and not even for a thank you. And you would be shocked to hear how much I would be willing to do for an employer in terms of work with just some praise. That's my love language, man. It's just like, hey, man, we really appreciate you. Keep it up. Got it. These 70 hours a week suck, but you got it. Let's get to some comments. Still sucks, though. You'll find something better. I believe that as well, Crystal. What a cute picture, you and Hubs. That's awesome. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Alan says, the reason they aren't giving you a reason is because they don't have one. They are either jealous or just couldn't stand the heart you have. This manager has hate in her heart. Could be. Again, it's tough. Maybe I'm going to leave this comment on screen forever. It was the Fabuloso, guys. It was the purple Fabuloso the whole time. Summer. Wouldn't that suck, right? She's like, he used Fabuloso and not Mr. Clean. And like, that's what it came down to. It's like, this guy's got to go. Who buys Fabuloso? Fabuloso's great. Smells great and it's cheap. You can get it at the dollar store. Logan B, what was I doing? Logan, I was both working in a retail capacity for the majority of my time and then in the lesser amount of time, I was the creative director helping create content for their social media platforms. I was going to flesh out their YouTube, which they didn't have yet, and monetize some of their Instagram so they could have another stream of revenue because they had a pretty sizable following and they weren't monetized yet. So just going to try and help in all things social media and content creation. We are here for you all the way from Antarctica. It keeps changing. All right, Tim, listen. You and your family can go back to the South Pole. Seriously, Sergeant A, and a man who will continue to change the world. You changed ours. That is such a special family, you guys. Like maybe some of you have had a similar experience where you have those moments where you have those people in your life where it's just like, I will never be the same after knowing them. Oh, that's the Weekly family. They are so special, dude. I am truly a better person for having them in my life, and I need them to know that. So, John, that means you too. It's not always just fart jokes. I love you, buddy. I'm so grateful that my life got to be blessed to be a part of your life in any way. I am forever grateful for that. Oh, Raymond, let's make candles. You guys are awesome. Let's make scented candles and strategically put them around the store so it smells like straight butt when people are in there and they leave. I hope no one ever told you getting over your father that is some sick advice. You keep that man in your heart until the day you die. Never let his name die. Thank you, Alan. What's sad is it's like people very close to the situation, like family. By the way, Sarah, I didn't say hi. I've known Sarah since high school. Her and her brother are incredible, and I love them both to pieces. Speaking from experience, you never get over a loss like that. You learn how to live with it, and I can tell some days are harder than others, but you never get over it. Sarah, somebody once described loss like that to me as like waves, and I just, if I can share, if you'll indulge me, some days like the tide is pulled back and the waters are low, and then other days it's just rushing in and it's just completely overwhelming, and you get pulled out with the tide. And you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. There's a little boy who needed you. And you were there. He is here today as you gave him hope. John loves you and we love you. Marshall, what's up, man? I hate crying on these things. Agreed with Sarah Akers, says Seth. What's up, buddy? Thanks for jumping in again. 2 nights in a row. I love you, man. I love Fabuloso too. She can take her Pine Sol 11 butt and get at it. Anthony Scott, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping on. As I'm crying, I'm so behind on comments. I'm sorry. You going to start doing YouTube again, Logan? I think so. I think so, my man. Miss your content. I appreciate that, man. I certainly miss making it. Hey, brother, man, tuning in from Oklahoma. Jeb, weren't you just back in AZ? You're in Okie now? That's fine, dude. All love. Jeb is the man and has been a huge supporter of mine for such a long time. Such a long time. Oh, on a bright side, I got you a song to react to live, and you'll never expect it. Anthony brought the songs to react to last time, too. So anyways, guys, that's the story. I appreciate you sticking with me. I appreciate you loving me through it all. I appreciate those of you that continue to share and be vulnerable and offer such incredibly sound advice. I can only imagine it's advice that you've gained through wisdom and experience. So when you add that to the whole, like the totality of things. Thank you. Thank you for giving so generously of your advice that, again, I can only imagine came from a situation where you went through something similar. That kind of vulnerability and openness and thoughtfulness speaks directly to my heart. So I genuinely appreciate those of you that were willing to share in that capacity, because it means a lot. Music reacts. I sent one too. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I remember how to do it, and I don't have my headphones. We'll have to do another one. Good night, Derek. Miss you, man. Hope the family's doing great. Alan, let's get together sometime soon, man. Me, you, and Harry Potter. Got to go to dinner or something. Anyways, I love you guys. Let's bring it in close one time. Little schmoots. Thanks for being on with me tonight. Thanks for participating. Thanks for letting me vent. Honestly, dude, I already feel better. So if I get a cease and desist, thanks for being here live. It might be taken down shortly. But I appreciate every single one of you and the special and unique ways that you've all touched my life and blessed my life and made me the version of myself that I am today. I can't say thank you enough. So please know from the bottom of my heart, I love y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to push me to be the best version of myself that I can. You're in Litchfield Park too. Let's do it. Right next to Wigwam, bro. We're like 5 minutes apart. Love you, Kev. Love you, Seth. See you later, Sergeant A. We will tune in from... You get another badumps. Oh, man. Have a good night. Keep your head up. You are a great guy who deserves the best. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. Y'all be safe. Thanks for tuning in. I hope the production was good. I hope it was engaging. I really hope you guys had a good time. I know I certainly did. So, man, we were on for an hour and a half. Zoinks. Oh, I'll have the juicy fart ready for next time, too. John from Greenland. Love you, too, Weekly family. Please tell John I said hi. 10 out of 10 will come back next time. Thank you, sir. Kevin, of course. I can always count on you, man. Always. Sorry again for the delay. And you guys are the best, man. Thanks for believing in me.